a quick backyard update. So in our backyard we have a prairie garden, several trees, some shrubs in the corner, and our couple of small trees and shrubs here, including a pawpaw. First year to have our pawpaw fruits actually on there, ripening. It's bloomed for a couple years, but this is the first year to get fruits, so I hope to get to them before the critters do. Looking forward to the taste. And we'll go to our prairie garden here in just a second, but you see a large boulder here, tree stump. And this is from the silver maple tree that we had to remove a few years ago for a sewer line project. Note to homeowners, try to not plant a tree and let it grow for 40 years above a sewer line. Yeah, just don't do that. So we had to remove that, and of course we didn't replace the silver maple with another tree directly above it. That's why we have a prairie garden. We took the opportunity of the disturbed and compacted soil after the project was complete to put in this prairie garden. And so now we do also have another large tree that will be large after I'm gone. Red oak here, and got it from a small package container there at my workplace. But yeah, go past that and check out the prairie garden today. So this prairie garden kind of started maybe 2 years, year and a half ago really, with the blank, bare, compacted clay soil space. And the line coming up from the house all the way down to the fence line there where it hits into the city main line. And it just took our time with it. This has been kind of a combination of seeding over winter to plugs and plants to bring this into place. And it's still a quite young prairie garden, but this is what we've done so far. So I'm going to walk through a little bit of it. And I'm actually going to start down at the bottom here. So as I said, the sewer line comes all the way up to the house from the edge of the fence line. And part of our project included adding some buffalo grass. I had seen recent videos and talks from people in the Kansas City area who've tried buffalo grass. I know I've seen it in projects in St. Louis when we lived there. But, it's a lot rainier in this part of the country, and I wasn't quite sure it'd be a great fit, but it's done really, really well. I actually established this last June. Great time to seed buffalo grass. This is a cultivar, but a decent cultivar called Sundancer. And, this was really good, kind of a test. So I'd actually establish more if I could. The challenge, of course, is in this neck of the woods, we get a lot more rain than you would in a shortgrass prairie. And at least in my experience, I'm just always going to be fighting weeds and crabgrass and such. But the experience has been good. And I've probably mowed this, I can count on one hand how many times this has been mowed. But at any rate, our prairie garden. So this is mostly perennials, some grasses, definitely some crabgrass. About the time I started to establish this last year, I had a reaction to an antibiotic and developed Achilles tendonitis. So I was actually not out here very much weeding, pulling out the crabgrass and such, which felt terrible at the time. So I had just, the winter before, I had gone out in the blizzards and snows and, was seeding this thing. And then early spring, I'd put in a lot of plugs and plants. But I couldn't do much last year, and even some this year, to keep out the weeds. But honestly, this was not a bad thing. This grass is a part of a prairie garden. Obviously not crabgrass, but also it kept me from disturbing the soil, I believe. And which I was, impatient, right? I was very much wanting to, make it perfect, make it great right off the bat. That's not how prairies roll. So, yeah, I just kind of didn't do as much as I meant in the first year and a half, but maybe that's not a bad thing. This will keep evolving, and I'll keep building it. So let's see what's going on in here. So a lot of yellow. This is July when I'm recording this. So a lot of yellow, a lot of Prairie Coreopsis, and gray-headed coneflower. And black-eyed Susan's in the mix right now. I had stiff Coreopsis, that's about done. Has been done, I think. Pale purple. Pale purple clover, actually. This is a newer one in my garden. We have about 100 species or so all around the house. And, yeah. So this is a newer one for me, at least. Purple coneflower in there. I also have pale purple and glade coneflower in the mix here. I really think pale purple coneflower does really well in the Kansas City area, especially in these clay soils. But you also get the bloom time differences between glade and pale purple and purple coneflower. So if you can mix in more than just the purple coneflower, I would recommend that. Go, and got a little Sideoats Grama just starting to do its thing. It's just a gorgeous grass. I don't think I can get this to focus on it, but that's okay. Purple coneflower, Monarda, fistulosa, bee balm, wild bergamot. It's got a few common names there. I've been told this one will get quite aggressive, but to be honest, I think most of these are quite happy plants that might compete with each other. We'll just see how this goes. And just kind of a simple border. That's something I would recommend with a prairie garden. We're not in an HOA or anything, but I do like to promote purpose with a garden like this by having an edge, a mowed edge, and eventually I'll be maybe changing some of the edge of the gardens with more low-growing things. The rock here was actually found when they were digging our sewer line, so that's actually a highly local rock. Blue sage, hopefully that will bloom soon. Love it. Salvia azurea. We've got another Liatris in here. I love Liatris. I've got Prairie Blazing Star in another garden. I've got Rough Blazing Star in this garden, and others. That's a later blooming one, short growing later. This one, I believe, is Scaly Blazing Star, and it's just started to bloom. And I just love Liatris. Adds a nice purple to the mix here. Got Hairy Mountain Mint blooming right now. That one, oh man, if you need maybe a little bit of a cut flower, or just love the smell of mint and the aromatics, pluck a little bit, especially if you don't want this to get leggy. I actually trimmed a lot of this a month and a half ago, and some of the prairie plants, especially in a garden like this where not everything's super tall yet. It is heavy clay, but there's some fertility in the soil, being basically yard soil. The plants could flop over, and so it's okay in some of these instances to just kind of chop them and take off a third or a half, depending on the plant, depending on the time of year. I actually do this with our asters. Some of our asters, about June, we'll cut in half, and promotes them to be a little less leggy. Maximilian sunflower as well. But, okay, we've got Partridge Pea here. Just starting to bloom. And Partridge Pea, and then this is not Partridge Pea. This is Illinois Bundleflower. It's already flowered. I guess I missed it. It's already doing its seed thing. A lot of wild Hairy Petunia in the mix here. This is something that I would absolutely love to just take over in the yard. When these seeds, when the seeds actually get mature, they pop. They eject. So I do find them all over the yard now, which is wonderful. I think between Lanceleaf Coreopsis and this, maybe I could just create a whole yard full of it, but that's the hope. But and then here we have Mexican hat, or at least I believe so. Yarrow is about done in here. Yes, there's grass. Planted some lead plant in here. I'll have to be very patient. That may bloom here in a few years, we'll see. Missouri Primrose is in the mix. It's kind of done blooming right now. It may bloom a little bit more as it cools back down. But it was a nice early and mid-spring bloomer in this garden. Ashy Sunflower back there. Another happy plant. False aloe, or kind of an agave. It's Agave manfreda. Got some asters in here. These I did not get to trim in June, so we'll just see how tall they get. Tinctoria planted this year. We'll see if I can get that to spread in and eventually compete with some of the grasses. Aside from the Sideoats Grama I had previously shown, I've got Prairie Dropseed in here, a little blue stem, and a couple other things in here. Purple love grass, I think. Buffalo grass has made it in here too, which is fine. There's Sideoats Grama doing the Sideoats thing there. Anyway, that's our prairie garden. Not bad. Not bad for almost 2 years of work. But yeah, felt a little crazy going out in the middle of snowstorms and blizzards to disperse seeds. Some of them have come up, some of them haven't, but just a part of the experience. So this has been a mix of seed, plugs, and potted plants to kind of bring this up. So some of the seeds I actually brought over from other gardens around the house. Alright, just a little bit more here. Sunflower patch. Pale Woodland Sunflower won't bloom here for another month or two. This is one that I had cut in about half in June. That will bloom here in a few months. And a neighbor was kind enough to give us some sunflowers. I don't know what kind there. Elderberry just finishing blooming here. Got a few shrubs of elderberry in there, along with more in the back corner, and Indigo Bush, and shrubby St. John's wort, and ninebark. I think this will be a bit of a haven for birds as it continues to mature. So looking forward to that. At any rate, that's our backyard.